Assalamu alaikum dear students, and welcome to the 74th session of the KIPS Distance Learning Program Current Affairs News Roundup session. I am your host Ashraf Ghani, and today we are going to see some important developments in the Afghan peace process, which has once again come into the limelight of global news. So after the inauguration of the Biden administration in the White House, some important changes in American foreign policy have been seen. First of all, Biden administration re-entered the United States of America into the Paris Climate Accord. Moreover, the Biden administration is also considering renegotiating and re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. Similarly, and with what is the topic of today's discussion, is that the Biden administration is reconsidering the terms and conditions of the peace deal that was signed between the Afghan Taliban and the United States of America on 26th February 2019. So, I think one of the main reasons why the Biden administration is reconsidering the Afghan peace process and the deal that it was signed between the two parties is that Taliban, the commitments that Taliban made to the United States in that deal, that is the main point of concern of the United States of America. Now, there could be two reasons why, the US is not keeping its word, its end of the bargain, the deal, and is considering renegotiating it. First of all, largely Taliban have refused to agree and then effect a ceasefire agreement and an end to violence in Afghanistan, despite agreeing to it in paper in the 26 February 2019 peace deal. Secondly, in the intra-Afghan dialogue, the peace negotiations that are going on between the Afghan Taliban and the Afghan government, it seems like the Taliban are having an upper hand and they are dominating the negotiations and might even sway the Afghan government in their own favor and against the United States of America, which is something that would be clearly against the withdrawal terms and conditions of the United States of America and the United States' interests in the way that it wants to withdraw and leave Afghanistan behind. So at this point, it is important that the US is thinking that perhaps the Taliban are not honoring the commitments that they made in the peace deal with the United States of America, or perhaps, secondly, that the commitments that the Taliban did make are not enough for the United States of America. These could be two possible reasons why the Biden administration is reconsidering the peace deal between Afghan Taliban and the Afghan government. So it's important at this point to review the 2019 deal that was signed between the US and the Afghan Taliban. So talking first of all about the commitments that the Taliban made in the peace deal, perhaps I think it's better to talk about the US commitments first. The US said that it would completely withdraw from Afghanistan within the 18 months of the signing of the peace deal, which meant basically, if we consider 18 months after February, that is like August of 2021, which is this year. Actually August of 2020 it was, I believe, which they actually never did. No, I'm confusing it actually. It is indeed the August of 2021, which is nearing, but the US withdrawal is still off the charts. Secondly, the US also promised to draw back majority of US military installments and bases from the Afghanistan soil. And thirdly, they promised to return 1,000 Taliban prisoners that were held up in Afghan government prisons. And in return for these commitments, the Taliban promised the following 5 things. First of all, that the Afghan-led, Afghan-owned intra-Afghan dialogue between the Afghan government and the Afghan Taliban would begin as soon as possible after the deal is signed, with a comprehensive agreement to once and for all end the violence, the war, and bring a sustainable settlement, political settlement in Afghanistan. Secondly, they agreed to an end in violence under a comprehensive ceasefire agreement as soon as possible. Thirdly, Afghan soil, the Taliban promised, would never be used to foment any kind of attacks or instability against any other nation in the future. Fourthly, that the Taliban government in future, after the settlement, would uphold the women's rights and the other individual liberties that were achieved by the Afghan government. And finally, Taliban would return nearly 5,000 Afghan government prisoners that are in their control. So, the prisoner exchange, which was one of the first and most important steps in the peace process, have been largely achieved despite a number of hurdles and hiccups, which shows consistent and significant progress in the Afghan peace process. However, the Biden administration's reconsidering of the peace process and the deal could prove to be a big issue for the Taliban, who might just, in a reaction to US reconsideration, draw back, exit from the treaty, and restart a new war in Afghanistan. But the chances of that are low, because the regional countries are committed to peace in Afghanistan, and they would not allow the beginning of a new war in Afghanistan. The regional countries include Iran, Pakistan, and China, and even Central Asian republics. So what kind of way forward can you envision from it? Well, first of all, I believe that the peace process will keep on track, albeit it might be a bit delayed due to reconsiderations of the Biden administration. And finally, US might try to extract more concessions out of the Taliban, because the current concessions under the peace deal of 2000 and February 26th might be considered too less for the US administration. So this is where we stand. Let's hope that the peace process proceeds smoothly and brings sustainable political solution in Afghanistan. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.